Hello everyone, Don here again with the next update on the War Corsair project. Well, I pretty much spent most of the week and the weekend working on this landing gear. Run into some issues of the retract. Had problems with the retracting. The one side, the right side here, didn't want to go all the way up in. That side was close to going up in, but didn't want to work right. And it's been a long time since I retracted this stuff. And it was adjusted before, but you know, I had to go and make these blisters on the wing. Well, the problem is, for some reason now they don't fit. So the gear still was hitting here. It actually cracked the paint and stuff here, and then there's a bolt that goes across the gear assembly and it hits in here, so it still hits. So I guess I'm going to have to resort back to the original plans where they literally just cut this out, make a metal aluminum ring for it, put a piece of inner tube, rubber black inner tube in there, so when the landing gear comes up, hits it, it just pops up. Otherwise it'll lay pretty much flat. So that's going to be the fastest, easiest thing to do than trying to re-glass this and repaint everything. Plus I don't have enough paint anymore to do all that. So, and then I had some issues with the actual gear door mechanism up in there. This one's not bad. This one over here kept giving me big grief. And it was the linkage, that oval shaped piece I got in there, it just moves up and down, follows the cam. It was binding and I couldn't figure out why, and then I finally found the problem, so I just now got it finished. As you can see, I only have one gear door on right now, and you can see it's off the ground. I got my cherry picker here. So what I want to do is just give you a show. That door over there doesn't close all the way because it's hitting the brake line. So I got to figure out what to do with that brake line. Because that gear rotates, you can't really attach it to anything. So I got to think about that for a little bit. I still have to cotter pin all the connections down there, the bolts for the trunnion assemblies. Everything needs to be safety wired. I did get inside and safety wire up some of the flap, not safety wire, but there's some lock nuts on the push rods for the flap controls that needed tightened up. And I actually had to tear there's a bell crank in the landing gear that the hydraulic cylinder pushes on. And that thing turns and it's longer on one side than the other, and I had to lengthen the one side a little bit to get a little more travel out of it. I was pretty much at the limits of the 3-inch hydraulic cylinder. I was bottoming out in the up and down, and the gear wasn't going all the way down into position. And then taking it apart, I realized that the bell crank, for some reason I had them in backwards. I had the short side where the long side goes, which shortens the stroke of the gear. So I switched them around, and then I actually lengthened it a little bit and drilled a hole 1/4 inch longer. So now there's about a 1/2 inch of the cylinder that's not being used, about a 1/4 inch on the top and bottom. So there's more cylinder available now to get the gear fully up and down. And that wasn't no big deal because I got so many adjustment points in there. I was able to adjust the linkage. So now it literally just shuts off when it hits limit switches. Alright, I see the backlighting in here ain't the best. I got this sitting on a bucket. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and cycle the gear up. We'll see what happens. I don't know if the light will give us anything. Probably just more backlighting. Let me take a look real quick. Yeah, a little better. Alright folks, it's going to be the gear up. Master switch on, and gear up. Just watch the gear door. It just barely wants to rub. It's all the way up, but it's just hitting this hose. Is there anything holding that up? The other side, and it's the same thing. It's hitting the hose on the other side. So that's up. Alright, we're going to come back down. Now I've been running this all day, so the battery's probably getting a little drawn down. But that's against the switches, so it's working good. I'm going to go ahead and set this down. As soon as I'm done here, I'm going to slide this thing forward. Alright. So that's kind of where I'm at now. Now hopefully it's just downhill from there. But yeah, it's been a trying weekend trying to get this gear. But as you can see, because the way the wheel rotates back, this rotates with it, and you can't really attach this. It'll pull too tight. It'll pull that too. If I try to hook it there, it'll pull it too tight when it goes around. It'll pull it too tight up here. So it's kind of a conundrum here, what to do with it. The other option is maybe try and put the brake on the back side, because you can mount this pretty much anywhere. There's another set of bolt patterns in the back. You can move it. It might change the length of this though. So, but like I say, you can see the hole I had to put in there to get that to clear. I could have showed you, but what's actually hitting is there's a bolt right back in here. You can see that. There's a bolt that goes through this assembly all the way through, and that's where it hinges. That's the toggle assembly. That's where it folds. Alright, let me turn the battery off before I forget. Master. You can hear the driver working. Now everything's down. And as far as the fit on this canopy, I do have some here hanging over that I can trim, because it was, remember, last week these were touching, so it is actually sticking out right here, a little more here, and it's sticking out really good here, so I can grind that away. It's just that aluminum frame. Just have to get some more 3-inch grinding pads to put on my little die grinder, angle die grinder, and I'll trim that down so the canopy fits better. It also needs to slide. It's still catching on these screws, so I got to pull them out, nip the tip, because it catches on this thing has a hook, goes up in and slides on the bottom, but it literally slides here and here. So I gotta see what will help make it slide a little easier, because it is kind of a pain. This one here I didn't really have to cut out, but it is cracked. You can see the crack right there, and it's hitting tight, it's hitting hard. So this gear is just bottoming out right on that, and this is pretty thick. I mean, this is thicker than the wing. All I did for the tail wheels, I just unplugged one of the wires, so I didn't want that swinging to just drop on its butt. So I had it on sawhorses when I was doing everything else, but today, working on it, I just did that. So, and then this past week, I did manage to get my tag made. You can see that was laser burned, and I was surprised to see that it actually come out in black lettering. So, but another thing, notice the empty weight, 780 pounds. So this past week, one of the first things I did was I dug out that jig I showed you last week, and it is a 4-to-1, and there's a scale. So I threw the whole airplane on, weighed one side, weighed the other side, weighed the tail, added it all up, and it was 770 pounds. So it's under 800 pounds. With that, and then the wings were 34 pounds each. I just weighed those, weighed the plane. Everything on the plane is on it, and the only thing wasn't on it was the wings. So those weighed, I think, 34 pounds a piece. And the left and right with the 4-to-1 was 79 pounds each side. And the tail was surprisingly like 64 pounds just on its own without the reduction. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shorten this up. Instead of 4-to-1, I'll move this, cut this off, move it back a foot, and that'll give me a 3-to-1. If I can find another piece of this angle, I'll put one at the 2-foot point, so I can have 2-to-1 or 3-to-1. Because I was really surprised it only weighed, like 79 pounds on one wheel, and then multiply by 4, and then times 2. And the nice thing was the wings weighed exactly the same. They were identical, and the aircraft weighed exactly the same left to right, which isn't always the case. Sometimes it'll be heavier on one side than the other because of something, or like the batteries on this side of the plane in the back, but apparently didn't hamper that. So I was really surprised to see that it was pretty consistent, which will help when flying. It won't tend to be a little wing heavy on one side or the other. Okay, then my brother brought me over some anti-skid. I guess this is something my dad had years ago. It's industrial stuff. Again, I'm going to use that to put a spot right about here on each side. I'll cut it rectangle shape, round off the corners. I'll scrape that with some paper and scuff it up, and then I'll use some of my spray adhesive, my high temp adhesive, and I'll brush that, a coat of that on there before I stick it on so it holds real good. But I'll put one on each side so that way I can get in from either side. And the name tag will go back under the tail section there in the light blue. It doesn't really matter which side. Generally on an aircraft, if a passenger, if they only have one door on one side, if you get in the left side or the right side, that's the side you put the tag on. So the tag will go back under here. I'm hoping to be able to get away with putting the end number either up here. I'd rather not put it up there. I'd rather it be down here somewhere. So, and again, all that's left to do is cut out the panels to put right here, and then there's the little panel that goes here that helps fill in this area. So that's all that's left. Those panels and those panels. 4 pieces of aluminum. Patch up these blisters. Get that done. Excuse me. Get my gear door mechanisms finished up. Allergies are all up in flare this weekend. So, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and cut her off here. It's already getting late. It's what, 7:30 already, so Sunday. Okay, well, that's gonna do it for this week's update. I was hoping to have this stuff done, and I wanted to get the airplane out on the cement driveway, get the wings on it, and start doing the weight and balance. I got to see where it's at to determine if I need to add any weight in the front or back. Hopefully it'll be close. The tank holds 15 gallons at 6 pounds per gallon. You're looking at 90 pounds of weight. What I may end up doing is just fill it with water to about 11 gallons. That'll give me 88 pounds. Because I don't want to go buy 15 gallons of gas to put in it right now. I'd rather just use some water, because water weighs about 8 pounds per gallon. So I figure 11 gallons of water will be sufficient to balance it out. And then the tank is still not attached, so it'll be easy to take it out and drain it and dry it out. Okay, that's going to do it this week, folks. As always, I appreciate everyone taking their time to watch my videos. And like always, leave any comments, questions, or concerns, and I'll get to them when I can. So this week I'm just going to try and get these things finished up, get that done, probably get those patches made, and then try and do the weight and balance, trim that canopy or something. I'll get something done by next weekend. Next Saturday is a fly-in I'm going to, so I won't be able to work on it next Saturday. I'll be gone all day to a fly-in EAA chapter. Okay, folks, that's going to do it for now. We'll catch you guys next week. This is Dino Don out.